Hello Internet, it's Elizabeth here, back with another video. I'm going to talk about some more of my adventures in Washington, D.C., and I decided to start with the magical world of social services. I will start with a disclaimer though. This is only my experiences in Washington, D.C. Things might be completely different in another state or city, so take that with a grain of salt. If you remember from my last video, I came out to Washington, D.C. to work in the AmeriCorps program as a VISTA, and VISTAs are only given a very small living allowance, which is very close to the poverty line. My living allowance is so low that I qualify for food stamps, only they don't really call it food stamps anymore. Some people do, some people don't. It's called SNAP benefits, S-N-A-P. Or Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So food stamps is SNAP, it's all the same thing. At first I was really reluctant to apply for food stamps because I'm choosing to live in poverty, and it somehow didn't feel right to have a highly educated middle-class person applying to be on these social safety net benefits. But what it really came down to was that when I looked at my finances, the reality was that I was probably not going to be able to afford to feed myself. So I went ahead and I went to the office and I applied. But when I went down to that office at 8 a.m. with my application in my hot little hand, I had no idea what this experience was going to be like. So the way it works, at least here in DC, is that they don't make any appointments. You get there at whatever time you get there, you get in line, and you wait to be seen. And if you are 30th in line, you might be waiting until 3 in the afternoon to be seen. There's no guarantees that you'll even get in, and it's just kind of a waiting game. So I told you that this was an adventure, and it comes in many parts. So hold on for the ride. My first time that I came into the office, I arrived a little bit after they opened, around 8:15 in the morning, and I was handed a number. I was handed the number 92. And I looked at other people in line, and they were serving at about 45. So I figured, okay, this might take a while, but I'll get in today. So I went and sat down and waited patiently for number 92 to be called, and at about 10 o'clock that morning, so after about 2 hours, they finally called my number. I go up to the desk and they tell me, we're not taking any more new applications today, put it in the box over there. Okay, so I put my application in the box in the corner and hoped for the best. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I have heard nothing from social services. So I assume they just took that little box that people put their applications in and threw it away. So what I decided to do was to try a different office, one that was a little bit smaller and a little bit closer to my house. So I had my new application in hand, and I decided I'm going to get there early. So I got on the very first train in the morning, and I got myself into line at 6:15 instead of 8:15, and there were still 40 people in line ahead of me. So I settled in to wait again. I waited in line, and this time it took until 10:30 for me to get to the desk, at which point they say, "This is a new application?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "No, we received one at the other office, and it says in our database here that they sent you a letter saying that you needed to come back in for an interview." And I said, "Nope, never had a letter. Don't know what you're talking about." And they said, "Well, sorry, we can't do anything for you here." So I had wasted yet another morning on social services. So that afternoon, I get home, and I look through the mail, and lo and behold, this magical letter that they said that they had mailed out a week before had finally arrived at my house. And I open it up, and I read it, and it says, You need to come in to finish your interview by Monday the 9th or your application will be denied. And I look at my calendar, I'm like, it's Friday. Monday the 9th is this Monday. Awesome. So, third time around, I go back to the first office, only I make sure I am going to be first in line. I left the house at 4 o'clock in the morning, and at that hour the buses and the metro aren't running, so I used the Capital bike share system. I went and I rented a bike, and I pedaled my tired little butt 6 miles across town, and I arrived at the office at 5:15 in the morning. 5:15 in the morning. And was fourth in line. I was victorious. I saw my caseworker, and I was out of there by 8:30 that morning, having been approved for food stamps. It was like I had defeated the system. But the story doesn't end there. I had to go a fourth time to the office to get my EBT card, which is like the little debit card that you get your benefits on. I got there right when they opened at 8:15, went inside, and then had to sit around for another hour for them to give me my card. I have no idea what took that long. They didn't really seem to be doing anything. But I finally left at about 9:15 with my card. So I left, and I was so relieved to be done with all this crap. But oh, no, the fun continues. We're halfway through September, and my benefits for this month still have not been loaded onto my card. Which means I still have yet another chapter to this saga laying ahead of me. I need to contact my caseworker, but they have no electronic ways of contacting them. They have no email address. They don't answer the phone. They do all of their correspondence through mail. And there's no digital way to contact them. It seems like you have to do that entire process. You have to go into the office and stand in line just to have a question answered. I don't understand this. Don't get me wrong, I am completely grateful that this benefit exists, that people who are not able to feed themselves get some assistance to be able to, eat. But let's go over the ways that this system that I had to go through is completely broken. Okay, first of all, having to go into the office while it's still dark out and wait on the street for 3 hours before the place even opens just to be seen that day. I mean, if you get there right when they open at 8 a.m., it's already too late, and you probably will have to spend the entire day sitting there waiting, hoping to be seen. It's an immense waste of time for everyone involved. Add on to that most of the people who need these benefits are hourly workers at minimum wage jobs, and they can't afford to take a day off to be sitting around in this office hoping to be seen. The fact that they have absolutely no electronic means of doing any of their work tells me that they're assuming that all of their clientele have no access to a computer or the internet, so they make everyone do everything the hard way with paper and through the mail, when it's completely the opposite. I think I saw every single person in that line had a smartphone. If you have a smartphone, you have some sort of access to the internet. If you have a library card, you have access to the internet. I would say that 95% of their clientele has access to the internet. They could accept their applications online. They could have an online appointment system. They could have an email where you could have your questions answered. They could streamline this and not have all these staffing problems so that they don't have enough time to serve everybody. I don't understand why they can't do this. I am in this system because I chose to be. I chose to take a job where I needed to depend on this service, but I can't even imagine what this is like to people who are hardworking, going to work 40 or more hours a week at minimum wage jobs just to earn enough money to to make ends meet. And in most cases, the ends don't even meet. So that's why they need these services in order to feed themselves and their kids. I can't even imagine what it's like knowing that this is the only thing between you and having to, watch your child starve. The people who are at social services getting these benefits are already socially marginalized and are already at the mercy of this system. I'm not saying that all of social services is evil and works bad and is wrong, because I think that it's a necessary safety net, but the processes that it uses, at least in Washington, D.C., for doing the paperwork and all the systems for getting people into the system and their benefits needs to change. If the people who were using social services were normal customers who could take their business and their money elsewhere, this would have changed a long time ago. But these people are stuck with the system they have because they have no voice to help make it change. The fact that the people that are being served have absolutely no voice in the system at all, to me, equates to a system that's perpetuating oppression. And I'm not okay with that. So that's been my experience with social services. The magical vortex where your time just gets sucked away from you. I hope that other people out there in different states have had better experiences, and I hope that there are places where the people who depend on these services aren't quite so marginalized and demoralized by the system. And I hope that there is, in a future, that there can be a better way. So that was a happy addition for me. Things are going great otherwise here in DC, and I will update you more later. Bye!